I am in our new shop. I came up here to grab my impact driver and I've kind of been feeling this for a while, but I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel as far as this build goes. And let's see, we need the small door, we need the big door, and we need to get the bathroom situation figured out before we can actually move up here and start making concrete. I want to go do a shop tour of where we currently are. I've been there for 10 years. It's changed quite a bit over time, and I wish I would have done this years ago so that we had, I had a 1 year, a 5 year sort of status on where we work. So today's a good day. It's the end of September 2025. Alex has gone home for the day. Shop's relatively clean, I believe. Should be. So we'll go show you where we've been and do a quick tour. We are at the shop. I've rented this space from my folks. It's been super beneficial to me, hopefully mutually beneficial. But they gave me, discounted rent, I would say, for a long time. Really helped me out, especially at the beginning, the first couple years. This is it. Camper, not mine. I guess we'll start at the beginning here. It's a little bit of a mess, but I guess this is just how, this is what it's like. We sand, cement, add mixtures, plasticizer, fiber, water jugs. This is a 66-pound scale that goes down to, let's see, it goes down to 5 thousandths, I think it is. It's worked really well for us. We sift everything that we batch up. All of the cement gets sifted. We double sift. These are awesome. They fit on top of a 5-gallon bucket. This is where we do most of our casting of smaller pieces. I'd say we cast probably 50 to 100 pounds a day. These are all trays. We've been making a lot of these bottles that we'll see here in a few minutes. A lot of our molds we store beneath the table there. And let's see, Vitaflex 40 molds. We did that for years. This is the Polytech. Oh, what do they call it? It's a bunch of numbers. 75, 45, I think, or something like that. So far has been the way to go. Far superior. We have a 4x8 casting table that usually just gets stuff put on it. Most of our work happens here. It's a 5x12 torsion box table with MDF top that could probably be redone here before too long. This is kind of embarrassing, but I guess this is just what it is. We have stock over here. Most of these go to one gal. A lot of this is our own stuff as well. So what used to be kind of the tables I worked at became storage, and stuff is stacking up, obviously taller than I'd like to admit. We have a wood stove for heat. It doesn't really heat us out or heat us up all that well, but it does take the edge off, which was a game changer because I froze out here for probably 5 years. We should look at the full deal. This is where I work. For the longest time, that 5-gallon bucket just had some pieces of cardboard on it, and I sat on that. My father-in-law didn't understand, so he bought me that little swivel deal. This is the computer, laptop. The printer's not here. The printer is in the house because in the wintertime it gets pretty moist out here. and all of our paper gets that damp feeling to it. So this is where I spend probably the first 30 minutes to 1 hour of my day, emailing, printing, correspondence, that sort of stuff. KitchenAid mixer. This is a game changer. That was my my wife's abuelita's mixer, and I don't know if she knew when I started to use it, but I credit that for I don't know, that's made us a lot of money, I would say. So thank you, abuelita. Stock over here, tools. I like to think I'd be more organized than this, but this is just this is what it is. Hand tools under there, some stock over here, old bandsaw, which works okay. Pieces that need to be thrown away. These are the concrete bottles that we've been making a lot of lately. The past year or so, I'd say. We cover everything in cardboard just to keeps the flies off of it. This is the garbage pile. This is whenever we have something that doesn't turn out, we toss it out here. Every now and then I'll haul this all to the dump, and it's embarrassing, but that's probably like a year's worth of stuff. No, probably 2 years, maybe longer. Farm implements and scrap wood that we will burn when it starts getting cold. It was like 45, 46 this morning, so we'll start burning before too long. We are very fortunate. We have a large bifold door, which makes up pretty much the entirety of this wall. Saw stop, table saw. This was one of my first, this was my first major purchase, probably 8-9 years ago. When I was working out here by myself, I thought it was probably a good idea. We do not have dust collection. That is the dust collection. That's something I'd like to have in the future. Chop saw, miter saw, blows all the dust over there. Same deal. We'd like dust collection. Started ordering. This is probably a year ago or so. We started ordering bulk sheet goods. The OSB gets used in all of our boxes, so does that thin plywood. And it saved me a lot of time not having to, I'd pick up like 5 sheets of each before jiu-jitsu once a week, twice a week. So it's been nice just getting this ordered so I don't have to haul it when I get home. And we no longer live here. For a long time, we lived in a cabin back in the woods there for probably 8 or 9 years. So kind of the daily routine, the process that we do pretty much Monday through Thursday, and then I usually come in on Sunday so that we have work, so that we have some stuff to pull and grind on Monday. But we batch everything up with the scale. We mix it up here with that double, what'd you call that? Double shaft mixer, the Columix XO55. I had a couple of the single shaft ones, and they work. I mean, I used those for probably 8 years, and this seemed like this mixes faster, and I think it might do a better job, and it's a little bit easier to mix with. We cast on this table. I cover this with plastic, and in the winter I cover it. In the winter we actually put rigid insulation down, and then we put everything, all the molds on top of that, and then I build a little bit of a tent with scrap pieces of wood and then plastic, and then heat blankets, and then moving blankets on top of that, so that the concrete cures even when it's freezing outside. We can get it to cure enough by the next morning that we can pull it out and grind it the next day. This is where we grind. It was getting fairly slick, so we paved it with old I don't know, old pieces that didn't turn out. We use a wet grinder. Let me grab that. It's in this dark closet. That goes there. So the routine here, I usually do the grinding, and we fill up this tub with clean water. We switch it out between colors, like we did white today. So I actually usually empty this. I'll do the grinding. I pass it to Alex. He sands knocks down the edges. Actually, I should say, I knock down the edges with the grinder. He smooths them out. If we need to acid wash, we do that here. And this is also another joke, is that if he's a good boy, when we move to the next shop, he's got to get himself a new pallet, because this one, I think I've had that since the beginning. This pallet is just concrete now. That has also, I've had this set up since the beginning pretty much. But we grind everything, and we grind in, I don't know, maybe like 8 pieces at a time, because if it dries too quickly, you can get watermarks left on it. So we'll bring it over here, and we kind of have the routine figured out. I grind 8 pieces, pass them to him as he's knocking down the sides and acid washing them. I usually come over here, and we get that fan going, blowing this direction. We get the air hose, and we air dry everything to avoid any watermarks. White concrete doesn't really get them all that easily, but the darker colors do get them. In the summertime, we'd bring our pieces out to the side here, and we would dry them along this wall. And when I lived down at the cabin, finish up at like 6 or 7, come around the corner, realize I forgot to put the concrete away. So I would always, that was the last thing I did. It happened pretty much every day. So now that we no longer live here, we just air dry everything so that I don't forget to do that. And the reason that's important, that drips. So we've had a row of stuff here. I forgot it overnight. In the morning, the dew dripped off of that, and I don't remember if we tossed everything, but I don't think it went all that well. Makita grinder, I just bought a new one. Just bought my 3rd one. This actually works really well. They work awesome. I have a pneumatic one that isn't quite as powerful, but every now and then the what do you call it? The GFI, or we'll call it GFI, kicks, and we can't figure out why. It happens on rainy days. It also happens when I wear a rain jacket, and I think when I hold this, the water flies up my sleeve, and then it comes down, and as I'm holding it, it drains right into those vents. That's our current thought. A lot of what I do out here is make up theories and then try to figure out if they're right or wrong. I started with about 1/4 of this shop, and I've slowly been expanding, and thankfully that hasn't been an issue. That far corner, we don't need to go back there either. Wood storage, cardboard. This cardboard here, we get all of our cardboard from a local business. The lady, it was actually Alex's mom for a couple years. She would bring it home, and then he'd bring it here. Now I go and pick it up from a gal that saves it for me. Super good situation. Cardboard seems to work the best for packaging most of our pieces. Pigments. That's a template from a countertop I just made for my brother and sister-in-law. Mold making materials. These I try to bring, I don't know where I'm going to bring them this year, but I try to bring them inside when it gets really cold out here. You know when you don't see your own mess? That's what this situation is. That is a credenza that I started right before COVID. Right before COVID. And that's a fiberglass mold. I finished 3 sides of it, I believe. And then we got busy, and I put it up there. I built this little scaffold thing around because I was going to fiberglass the top of it. And then I started setting things on it, and now, that's been years. And I don't see my own mess, so this is it. This is where I've been working for 10 years. The shop is 40 by 60. The camper takes up a little bit of that, but I use at least 75% of the shop. Could be a lot more organized and efficient as far as how we store things, and that's a goal for the future shop. A relatively unfiltered, well, actually it is unfiltered, look into where we work. So thanks for watching, even if I'm the only one that ever sees this. But I am going to put it on YouTube so that this is where I have been, where I've been working. Worked by myself for 5 years. Alex started helping me out in 2021. So he's been here 4.5. Lucky to have him, especially on a day like this, because he got after it and I need to print these labels and make it down to the post office before they close. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you want more concrete content. If you have any questions or have ideas of what you want to see, let me know. Thanks. One more thing before I go. I wanted to show you Cedar. This big boy is almost 13, aren't you, big boy? He hangs out over on the other side of the camper most days because it's a little bit quieter, and he doesn't like the noise or a lot of the action that goes on, so he'll hang out back down there. All right, thanks for watching.